Welcome back to our journey toward the second assembly of the Plenary Council in Australia. In part 1, we caught up with our diocesan members on the journey of the Plenary Council process so far. And in this episode, our members will share some challenges and hopes that they found along the way. We begin by discussing some of their struggles and learnings from the process.
The challenge is always, hopefully we're doing the right thing. Hopefully we're listening to the Spirit. Hopefully we can reflect where we are at.
We don't put obstacles in the way of the Holy Spirit, and that's always the challenge in church, that we can do that all too easily.
When we started all of this, I didn't know how to really listen deeply. The discernment process has been really a significant impact on me in every aspect. I recognize now when I can step back and listen, I can be an observer.
I found the challenge of the first assembly was the fact that we didn't have the time outside of formal sessions to be able to interact with people. How much better the dynamic would have been if, for instance, some of the people who are in my group, if I could have actually eyeballed those people and we could have at those breaks been in conversation. Not necessarily about the matters that we were dealing with within our groups, but just to get to know people.
With members from all over Australia coming face to face at the Second Assembly, one of the great opportunities will be the sharing of varying views, ideas and perspectives that are held within the National Catholic community.
We need to understand that living with a plurality of voices is not necessarily a bad thing, and maybe from the tension of that, we learn to gain insights.
It's not an us and them, but it's a interconnectivity and relationship with Jesus and with each other that's really going to be significant.
I think that the hope is, I encourage a lot of the process is important, and this process is giving us a chance to have a conversation and which way we want to assume the hopes agrees or disagreements, and then what we'll do about them. And I think that's the hope, that we talk about what kind of church we want to build for the future.
It's not about us and them, it's not about differences, but about joining the dots, across philosophy and across science and economics and care of the world, care of the planet, and saying we need to be in touch with those connections.
Whatever you do, bring it to the table. That's the ministry I have, is the table ministry. Amazing things happen when people sit around and have significant conversation, asking, questions that may seem a little threatening, but opening people up to the possibilities of real care.
On the eve of the second and final assembly, our members share their hopes for the days ahead and the future for the Church in Australia beyond the Plenary Council.
My first hope is that people realise that the Church is very pluriform, that there are different voices. When we say the Church is Catholic, in its broadest sense, that means that it's universal. And so there needs to be a plurality of expression, and we need to be able to live together with that plurality.
Two things in the process. One, being Christo-centric, how can we make Christ the center of our lives, and that comes all through the emotions as well, the framework. And the other one is being sent as disciples, the missionary church. Hopefully these two will help us to change again things and rearrange our ministries in the future.
I would hope that the Uluru Statement from the Heart gets approved, that there is a voice for the Aboriginal people here. It seems like it's happening. It seems like something wonderful is happening.
Issues of women in the church and leadership in the church are really significant issues that still they're on the table. We've been saying that for 50 years since Vatican II. We'd like Vatican II to be realised and then grown and built upon as well. So they're all the things we're facing into.
Though the Plenary Council process is coming to a close, in some ways it's only the beginning of the journey for the Church in Australia. In the next episode, we discuss with our members what they hope will come from this experience. The Plenary Council will come to an end on July 9th, but the journey continues.